There wasn't too much friction between prisoners and captors, who were the Chinese. They said, we don't understand the American way of life, so we need some volunteers to explain what the Americans like and what we wanted. And I said, well, look, I'll go. I volunteered. I asked for recreation equipment. I asked if we could use an old building to set up a recreation hall where we sit. I said, some of the guys are religious. They want to know if they can worship. I asked if what food they brought us, if we could let our cooks cook it the way we like it. So they agreed with everything I said. In about 2.5 to 3 months, they brought in baseball bats, football. We exercised every day. The guys began to get strong.
We demolished what was left of a Japanese factory, and that became our playing field. And later on, we actually built clubhouse. We had our own clubhouse. We even had what they called the Intercamp Olympics.
When I came across this film archive, I could not believe my eyes. This must be the only prisoner of war camp in human history to have ever organized an Olympic Games.
I was very quickly labeled as a progressive because I read voracious, read everything I could get my hands on. And I volunteered when I was asked to I was like the mail clerk. They gave me the mail for my platoon, and I passed the mail out. And I was in charge of the bulletin board, and I could type. So during the Intercamp Olympics, I did all the typing for the newspaper that covered the Olympics.
And I remained in the prisoner of war camp until the end of war. And Chinese sent me away to study. Then they sent me back to camp to give lectures. And I gave lectures on capitalism, imperialism, history of social development. I learned the difference between all of those right there in the prisoner of war camp. And I taught it to the other prisoners.
Somebody came to talk to me and said, you know, this is going to be over. He said part of the agreement of the ceasefire was those prisoners of war who did not want to go back home could choose a country. For instance, they go wherever they wanted to go, if that country would accept them. As it turned out, I think there were 21 Americans who chose, in fact, to go to China. And I've often been asked as to why.
You became a turncoat. You renounced your country. Why? What did you have against the United States?
Well, Mike, it wasn't actually that I had something against the United States. We did spend over 3 years in captivity. I was captured only 17 years old. And I underwent the mass indoctrination program that the Chinese instigated in the camp. And there was a lot of things that they told me that sounded to me like common sense.
I chose China for many reasons. With that close contact we had, I began to wonder about communism, what it was like. And it's a known fact that every man wants to better his life. He wants to do more in life. I was assured by the camp authorities that, well, you know, we don't discriminate. It's not the principle, it's not our principle to discrimination. We believe that all people are equal. So that was a great encouragement for me to help me make my decision. And of course I did ask the question of marriage. Could I marry? And the Chinese said, we got plenty of women. It depends on whether them like you or not. So we left Korea, we got on the train, we left Korea and went to China. And of course, the first day in China, they gave this humongous banquet for us. I mean, I had seen never. In fact, in my whole life, I had never seen so much food. Beautiful table. Man, the table was long. And just covered with everything you could imagine. I mean, some good cooking.
With such great expectations, the 22 former POWs entered China. Treated as dignitaries, they were invited to the 1954 May Day parade in Tiananmen Square.
I used to ride my bike here all the time. You know, you have to ride your bike kind of like the cars so that you don't get ran over. Oh my God! Now this is like coming home. This is my homecoming. This was my school for 2.5 years.
David Hawkins and 6 of the former POWs studied at the People's University in Beijing. They were known as peace fighters.
Adams was here, Clarence Adams.
My first schooling was at the People's University of China. It's where we took a 2-year preparatory course. First of all, we couldn't speak the language, so we basically dealt in the language and Chinese history, and the history of the Chinese Communist Party, and the history of the Russian Communist Party, Soviet Communist Party.
This paper mill in my hometown Jinan is where James Veneris worked for 20 years.
其实你有几种选择，所有的选择留下来的战俘都可以去做农民，也可以去做工人，可以去上大学，还可以自由选择其他的职业。
哎，那个，
您后来为什么选择了做工人呢？
我从小的时候，我的祖父、我的爸爸，我们都是工人，所以我不知道别的，体力劳动干活。
家面还都挺好，哎。
When we were introduced, he made a good first impression.
他喜欢那4个孩子。
I already had 4 children. He liked them a lot. He gave us each a badge of Chairman Mao as gifts.
毛主席纪念章。这些领导哈都给奖吧，说脾气挺好。
他生了2个漂亮棒子的孩子，一个姑娘，一个儿子。我感谢你。
就是那个，我觉得我父亲嘛，在中国这么多年啊。
What I remember most about my father is that when people advised him to return to the United States, he always preferred to stay in China.
让他回美国，他觉得还是中国挺好的。
我父亲希望我将来能在美国。
In the end, my father wished me well in the United States. I knew I could make more money here. But he insisted I never join the U.S. Army. He was adamant. For him, soldiers are nothing but cannon fodder.